Go.
Hey, Allie, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for meeting with me.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, so what's been going on?
Just a lot. Been trying to, do my internship and trying to figure out time for me and
Yeah. So what have you been doing for your me time?
not a whole lot. I wish it was better, but like the past 2 weekends I've gone up to see my family in Indy because my sister-in-law just had my niece last weekend. And then I have a nephew who is going to turn 1 in like 2 weeks. So trying to see them and watch TV and...
Yeah, so you've got a young niece and a young nephew. And so you're not... Where do they live?
They live in Indy.
Okay. So you're not too far, but you're not close enough to really be with them every day. And they're young, so I can understand that you want to spend time with them and that you're probably a little upset that you don't get to spend a whole lot of time with them.
Yeah, it is. Because like I can FaceTime and like so I'll see my nephew like through FaceTime, or they'll try to call me when they're all together. So it does, sometimes stink because like I don't get to when he says a word or does something funny. Like I just hear about it. I don't actually get to be there to see it. So it does, but
yeah. So you said you got a lot going on with internships and just not seeing them as much. You're doing this and you're doing that, and so how motivated would you say that you are to take more time for yourself on a scale of 0 to 10?
I would say that I am a 6.
Okay, so why would you say you're a 6 instead of a 4?
I would say I'm a 6 because I do want more me time, so I'm not as like overwhelmed or stressed. But I'm not. Yeah. You just haven't started fully. Being committed.
Yeah, totally. So what would it take to get you from a 6 to a 8?
I would say more. I just need to have more like time commitment, or be more motivated, I guess. Because right now, like, I'm not willing to kind of change what my routine is, even though I would like to. I'm just not very motivated to doing that.
Yeah. Well, I would like to offer you a suggestion if you would like to hear it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So it's just kind of something that I even do just in my mornings more so is in the car, especially because I know it sounds like you spend a lot of time in your car, going to Indy, going from place to place, doing all those things, and just to find a CD that maybe relaxes you or calms you and just listen to that, and that way you can at least start your morning off feeling like you're getting relaxed or having a little bit of you time, even though it's in your car. And that way you can just feel like you have something relaxful going on, and then maybe that'll even start your day so you can be more motivated to do whatever else you want to do to take more time for yourself.
No, that is an excellent recommendation. I like that.
Yeah.
Because I do want, I would like to have just some time, in the morning to kind of relax so I can start out my day not as stressed or thinking about all these things that I have to do throughout the day.
Yeah. So how do you think are a few ways that you could begin to make more time for yourself?
I could, try, like hanging out with friends more and, even exercising. That is one thing I would like to do. And even like reading a book just for fun, because I used to love to read. In high school, I did it all the time, and now I just haven't gotten to because I'm trying to read books for school, and so I'd say those are my 3 things.
Yeah. So what type of books do you like to read?
Oh gosh, I like murder, like suspense ones. Like
Yeah.
There's one author I really like. Her name's Mary Higgins Clark, and she she just keeps you wanting to like keep reading, and like turning the next page, because she incorporates like 4 different stories. So like each chapter is like they're the same person, but like it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But like one person is in one chapter and then another person's in the next, but they all intertwine like towards the end of the book. So like they're all connected somehow. So I just find those kind of things like fascinating, trying to figure out.
Good. Well, I think it's great that you know a few ways that you can kind of start to take time for yourself. And I think that's great of you. You know, that you can point that out and you can see that. And also that you can notice that you would like to take more time for yourself. So I'd like to ask you just a few questions about taking time for yourself, if that's okay?
Yeah.
So what would you say are some advantages of not taking time for yourself?
I would be able to focus more on schoolwork. I would feel like I'm getting more accomplished.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think are some disadvantages of not taking time for yourself?
You know, always feeling overwhelmed. And then I guess this kind of goes along with it, but you know, just being constantly stressed or like thinking like I gotta do this, I have to do that, like this homework assignment's due, or yeah.
I feel you on that. That's a lot, you know, to go on and to have happening all at once. So what would you say are some disadvantages of taking time for yourself?
So I would say, you know, gosh, I have to think about that. Kind of just, you know, like I would be overwhelmed more again. And then I wouldn't be able to focus more on like what I need to get done.
Yeah.
Like, so if there's something in my internship that needs to get done, like if I'm taking time for myself, then I'm not focusing on that, or like even a homework assignment. Like if I do want to read, I'm not reading for my classes.
Yeah. So you may feel like you are doing things that aren't productive, or taking time away of things that you have to get done, you know. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So what would you say are some advantages of taking time for yourself?
I would be less stressed. And I feel like I'd be in a better mood just because I wouldn't be on, you know, I would feel like I had just a little breathing time, so I'd be probably happier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say you're more motivated to take time for yourself rather than not motivated at all?
Yes, as I am more motivated to like want to do that. It's just actually taking the time to doing it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, because I can sometimes have a commitment issues. So like committing to taking time to like wanting to change my routine is kind of hard.
What would you say are some things that you would have more difficulties with making commitment to them?
I would say my biggest one would probably be the exercise. Just because it's, you know, like having to take an extra bag with me and like taking extra time to put the clothes in there. And then, you know, how I'm like looking at it is, you know, if I go to the gym, like I want to spend an hour there. So I get too caught up in my head because I want to be an hour there. But then I think, okay, well, if I'm going to work out for an hour, well, I might be there an hour and 10 minutes because I have to change.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to go back, get my clothes. So I'm there for close to an hour and a half versus... So I guess realizing that I can do 30 minutes of exercise and not have it take up so much of my time.
Yeah. So you're there longer than what you would really hope to be there for, just because you have other stuff you want to do. So I understand that. And then I can also see how after a long day of doing homework or internship or whatever you've been doing that day, the last thing on your mind is to go and do something where you have to exert so much force and do so much more that's going to make you even more tired. So I can understand that.
Yeah, 'cause, you know, like you said, the last thing I want to do, you know, when I've been at my internship for 10 hours is go work out, and I'm usually hungry by that point. So
Yeah.
I just want to like go home and like eat and like change my clothes and just, so yeah, I just need to figure out a better balance. And
so you just said that, you know, after a long day, rather than going and working out, you'd much rather want to go home and eat, change your clothes, get into comfy clothes. What would you do after that? You know, after those long days, when you do things like that, do you take time for yourself? Or what would you say that you do?
I do. I would say the thing that I do is I watch, like TV that would, like on Netflix or Hulu, like I'll watch whatever shows on there. And then, I mean, if I have any homework that's like due, I will try to work on that. But the main thing is, watching TV.
And how does that make you feel about being productive or not?
I don't feel productive because I'm just sitting there for like 2 hours watching TV when I could be doing something.
Yeah.
You know, like I could go to the gym then.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like spending more time doing my homework versus just watching mindless TV.
Yeah. I understand that, but I do think it's great that, you know, that is kind of some you time that you do get to relax. So I would hope that you wouldn't always look at that as a negative way of spending your time. So what I would like to ask you if we can do is maybe make a list of your top 3 ways that you can start taking time for yourself. Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Top 3 ways. One would be, you know, and I even like walking around my apartment complex versus like taking time, like actually going to the gym, like, cause it's something that's right there.
Yeah.
And I have like a neighborhood that's around there. So just walking around there and like considering that as part of my exercise.
That's great. Yeah.
Something else. Even like FaceTiming with, you know, like my family, you know, like my nephew or niece, you know, just doing that, you know, kind of getting to see, you know, like my family's faces. And I could also try like those adult coloring books.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yes. I have one and I haven't used it, so I feel like that could be something, you know, it's just mindless, you know, something that would just be a relaxation type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, those could be 3 ways.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And maybe that coloring book could be in place of TV watching or with TV watching, you know, and that can be your own little self-time. So why would you say that those are your top 3?
I feel like those would be my top 3 just because I either struggle with them or it's something that I would like to do more of.
Okay.
Which I guess those kind of go together. But yeah, like especially like exercising is one. Like I think like I said earlier, I don't do it. So I know I struggle with it. But then you feel better after you like do those kind of things.
Yeah.
So.
And I thought the first one that you mentioned about walking around your apartment complex rather than driving to the gym was so smart, just because that, you know, that saves you time, but it's also achieving one of those goals that you want to do. So I think that was so smart. So why do you think that you do struggle with those the most?
I think it's just because like in our society, we always have to be doing something. And that's kind of how we base our self-worth is whether we are always being productive or because if you just sit on the couch, you are more viewed as lazy. So, you know, like you get into that mindset that, well, if I sit and watch TV, like I'm lazy versus like I just feel like you always have to be doing something in our type of society.
Yeah, I agree. I can feel like that too all the time if I'm just sitting at home and maybe I should be doing something else other than doing something for me. Even sometimes society says you always have to continue to do for others. I'm really happy that we got together. It sounds like you are doing a lot and very, very busy, but you're also, you made time to meet with me today and hang out with me, so that's kind of doing something for yourself. I know you've got a lot going on with traveling with your family to see your nieces and nephews. And so, I'm just really glad that you're here today, and it sounds like you have got some top 3 ways that you're going to start just changing that lifestyle and taking more time for yourself. So.
Yeah, thanks for meeting with me and giving me some advice. I will definitely use that.
Great, anytime.